Might edit most of this out. Although the energy work I've been doing would probably be pretty useful to you guys, I would think. But you have to really be able to look straight at your own bullshit and see it for what it is and totally accept it for what it is. But then also not like get all into this overly blamey of like, just like see the truth of yourself and of other people and go, oh wow, thinking it was this one way, but then I see it was this other way. So, I mean, you can't see people for better than who they are or worse than who they are. That's really, really hard. And I'm not trying to say like I'm some kind of magnificent guru who sees the truth in all things. Or maybe I am. Hey guys, so it's been a little bit since I've filmed anything, as you can see. Today is Saturday, February 6th. So it's been quite a while. January was just one of those months where all I wanted to do was lay in bed pretty much and consume content as opposed to creating content. I did manage to release the Story of Swallow deluxe version, and I created and sent out a press release. Found a lot of outlets to do that and started my, you know, virtual press kit and people to send it to and stuff like that. That was kind of a big move for me. And the deluxe version of the album has 3 additional tracks on it that were supposed to be on the original EP. So I've got that out in the world now, and I'm glad for that. I haven't done any writing. I wrote a few little blog posts in January, but that was pretty much it. And when I went to send out my newsletter, I messed that up. I like to send out a newsletter at the beginning of the month. And I was trying to figure out, I had the wrong information in the from for some reason. And so in trying to fix that and test it, I used up all my monthly allotment of newsletter sends. So unless I wanted to upgrade my package, which I don't, thank you Squarespace. You're great, but I'm on a fixed income, so nix to that. So, I mean, it's not like a colossal waste or anything like that. I'll just wait. And then March will be, send it out. Still really missing my mom. I don't know if you know, but my mom passed away in September. And she was ready to go. She was tired. She was in kidney failure for several years, and I talked her into dialysis, and she hung on with it as long as she could. And then she was just ready to go. When you're ready to go, you're ready to go. You know, other systems were starting to kind of go down on her, and quality of life was just trashed. All she would do was sleep, having gut issues as well. And a lot of that was due to the fact that her diet was so restricted. She couldn't eat any roughage because all the roughage foods are so high in sodium. So her gut was trashed. So, I mean, poor thing. And although I say some really awful things about her on my blog, because she and I fought like cats, and she could be really awful, and she was too damn proud for her own good. She was still my mom, and a lot of my trauma processing is connected to her. So I'm still trauma processing. Never made a proper announcement, I don't think, because I'm not good at that. But I have a Discord, and I have a section where I'm creating a community for all of us to just go in there and talk about our feelings. And it's specifically a safe space to talk about mental health issues. I mean, you don't have to have mental health. I mean, everybody has mental health issues. Come on, who are we kidding? If you're a human being, you have mental health issues. There's just no getting around it, you know, because one person's will is gonna just collide with another person's will at some point, you know? And then if you think about the way energy works, it's very easy to create a standing ridge, you know, of that collision that doesn't go anywhere, depending on how, you know, strident the collision is, if you know what I mean. There's maniacal honking in the background. I can't. That's actually not what that was. I live near a car dealership, and when they're bringing cars down the ramps, they honk to make sure that people are clear. but it was well timed. I don't know if it even picked up on this or not. But that was one example of a standing ridge. That's how energy works. So please come to my Discord. I will leave a link in the description box so that you can come and find it and just talk and say, hey, does anybody else ever feel like this? Like a plastic bag swirling in the wind. Just come talk about your feelings. And there's going to be a no trolls allowed policy, and that's pretty much it. So I mean, I don't process grief openly. I don't mope. I just go really inward quietly. I don't, I'm not glum or anything like that. I just spend a lot of time kind of chilling, and that's it. I just don't do a lot. I'm not outward with my energies or my time or my attention. That's how I grieve. So that's what I've been doing. My holidays were nice, quiet here at home, of course, due to COVID, and my area went into heavy duty purple tier for like 2 months. So I mean, that was fun. I suppose it felt harsh or limiting, but and yet it just kind of felt the same too, because it didn't change what I do anyway due to my neck and spine injuries as I readjust myself in the chair. Lately my shoulder's really been locking up. I need to figure that out. I'm seeing as standing waves being held in my body, connected to trauma and past issues of judgment that I've held over people or situations from my past. So I'm using a combination of cognitive behavioral therapy and biofeedback to raise my own awareness, meditating on those issues, using the pain to draw my attention to, okay, that's an area that could use some work. Let's look at that pain. What memories come up when I focus in on that pain? Do I see people? Do I see memories? Do I just see emotions? And do I get any kind of images? Here I'm like doing it with my shoulder because I was just thinking of my shoulder, but do I get any kind of imagery when I focus in on that pain? And then I just sort of like let that kind of like wash over me to see what shakes out. Oftentimes it's multiple. It's like a series of like, okay, well, there was this, and then there's this, and then there's this, and various things have stuck to me there. So I'll just take up the first one and I'll like let it play out and see, okay, am I holding on to a feeling? Am I holding on to a grudge? Is there a judgment there? Could I look at it differently? Could I take it apart and see other people's viewpoints? Let me see how many different viewpoints I can take in there, and what part of this can I take responsibility for? Could I take a different viewpoint and take responsibility for that, and so on and so forth? And it's not quick work, but that's okay. And at the same time, while I'm doing all of that, a lot of times I feel the pain like moving and shifting and whatever, and a lot of the times, depending on how intense it all was, there's some point where there's like some kind of like clang, 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 clang going on, like, you might die from doing this. And I always kind of feel like, oh, and that would be fine. I always let that voice yell and scream at me, this is so scary, this is so scary, and it tries to get right in my face, like screaming at me, like, you shouldn't do this, it's terrifying. And of course I just kind of go, so am I gonna have a heart attack right now? Am I gonna just suddenly stop breathing? And I just kind of go, okay, cancer didn't take me, small bowel obstruction didn't take me, various other stories that I haven't told you didn't take me. Come on, bring it. I don't care. I just sort of, become sort of insouciant towards that, whatever that is that does that. That I guess made me feel like it was too dangerous to address earlier and just kind of like stuck to me. And there are times where I'm aware, oh God, I've been feeding that demon for a long time. I've just kind of been stuffing it down and, oh yeah, I feel that way. They were poopy to me. I don't like that. I resent that. Let it go, let it go. So that's actually how I've been spending a lot of my time, and I'll do that typically when I get woken up too early, which is almost every day. I find myself being like, I'll like not be able to stay awake any longer around 10 or 11. I have the windows open. I live in a hive. I'll find that I can't stay awake any longer around 10 or 11. And so I'll just be like, pass out. And then I'll get this like niggling, time to wake up, jazz hands. Like at 3 or 4 in the morning, totally down for sleep, still totally tired. So then that's when I go and do this shit. I'm like, okay, fine, do my meditation work. And that's my meditation work. So it's not fast, but it's, you know, might as well do something. So I'm laying there, and my body's still relaxed, so I can kind of identify stuff. I do still have those 2 songs I just kind of slam dunked in GarageBand that I want to work on. I've got my beautiful redesigned guitar that I need to start picking up and learning how to play again. Haven't had the impulse. I got this beautiful chinoiserie wallpaper. I want to wallpaper my dresser, but I just don't have even that. It's like, nah. I went through all my art supplies. I've got this old army trunk that was, pretty sure it was my dad's, but my brother says it was my grandfather's or grandfather's. I'm pretty sure it was just my dad's army trunk. It's full of all these art supplies, and I went through everything and got rid of stuff that I didn't need, or like I had all these old watercolor paints, the tubes had dried up. And it's like, oh, it's too bad I only ever used half of that, damn it. Tubes of watercolor paints, really tough. Like when you have to be careful when you screw the lid back on the tube. You have to like wipe it really well because they glue shut so easily. And when I was learning, my first teacher taught me a trick where you like can heat it up with a match or something, and then it will like loosen up. Actually, my second watercolor teacher did the same trick. But they still have like these ridges on them, and it just like, fucking hurts your fingers. I think I even kept like a little needle nose plier in there in order to kind of help me. But after a while, it'll just end up twisting the tube, and there's like all this paint in there, and the tube just like twists, and it starts to crack, and it's just like, oh man. There's a bunch of that where it's paint that I couldn't even get to. But I did get a bunch of new paints. Christmas. It was Christmas. Yeah. Instead of Cotman watercolors. Here's the thing. This old bandmate of mine, I was in this band for quite a few years. Through most of my 20s. All of a sudden in the past couple of weeks, they've been posting all kinds of stuff. It's like, hey, digging through the archives. I'm looking at the content and I'm just like, I'm not posting anything to my wall. And I'm looking at that. And that's become part of my most recent work. And how I feel about that whole time. How I feel about my work in that group, how I feel about my relationships with those people. And a lot of stuff is coming to the surface, you know? It's really interesting. And it's a lot more complicated than I expected. A lot of complicated feelings that I realized I didn't resolve any of that shit. And it's holding me back in the present. It's holding me back from doing my own work, which I really believe in, I think. Or do I, right? So, fuck. I'm having to face that right now. At the time that I was doing that work, I really believed in it. I really believed in what we were doing. I'm remembering how I felt at the time. But the other thing that is making me feel like I don't want to share these things to my wall is I'm hearing myself. And I feel like I sound terrible. I'm hating what I hear. I hate the way I used my voice back then. I'm like, oh my God, this is just not up to snuff. Yeah, so I'm embarrassed. So it's like a double whammy where I'm like, oh, it's stirring up all these bad feelings for me. Well, I could just share it to my wall anyway, because I mean, that was then and this is now. And you know, I did a thing. Look here, I did a thing. But I'm embarrassed about the thing that I did. And I'm having a really hard time resolving that. Yeah, so that's weird. But I also kind of don't want to be promoting somebody else on my wall. It's like, why should I? I mean, you would never promote me. You know, I came when I did my first album using my given name, shared it with you, and y'all were like dead silent. And we did a project together in 2000 for a tribute album to Moby Grape. And I'm really proud of the work that I did on that. And they've now removed my name from it completely, even though I sing like 4 different parts on it. And it's like, well, I mean, you could use my current stage name if you want. They didn't even ask me. My name isn't even on it at all. So see, I still got some stuff to resolve. I shouldn't be feeling this way at all. It shouldn't be. Nothing should be stirred up for me over this. Still got some work to do. And this month, supposedly, is supposed to be really whim, boom, bang, bang, bang kind of a month, astrologically speaking. Lots of ish being stirred up. And as you can see, I've decided I'm not going to be shaving my hair anymore since my health has improved quite a degree. I feel like I can actually maintain hair now. When I was in and out of the hospital so much, being bald was really the only way to go, because it's too hard to maintain hair when you're just spending 10 days a month in the hospital. So now, letting it grow out and going platinum. This is gonna require monthly haircuts and monthly bleach outs. And since my hair is so dark, it's almost black, I have to do the heavy duty bleaching. But I got some Olaplex. You can get it on Amazon now, which is great. So my hair is soft. It's not straw-like at all. Yay. And that's really it for me. Oh, this is the year that I'm gonna have my ostomy reversed. I am determined. This is the year. It should have been reversed like 3 years ago, but because I've been having so many issues with it, they have not wanted to reverse it. I'm going to have another resection before I can have it taken down, and I've been referred to Stanford to talk about all of that. I see them Wednesday or Thursday. I see them to start getting the ball rolling on that particular score. So that's good, because apparently there's one section of my colon that has severe narrowing, so they have to remove that in order to ensure a good result. And that is probably why I've been having so much pain. Probably that one section that's super narrow is causing all the spasming. That's what I suspect. So hopefully that will also enable me to not be on quite so many pharmaceuticals, which would also be really nice. So anyway,